Hey everybody, my name is Chris Pavela and welcome to What Jesus Says About, where Jesus speaks for himself so you can respond for yourself. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you can stay up to date on what Jesus says about topics important to you. Now, the closer we get to Valentine's Day, the more you'll see like candy everywhere and you'll hear conversations about love, and that's why we have conversation hearts. You couldn't buy these last year, so I bought them this year. They're good, but I don't know how to actually start a conversation with these. Like, it just says peace. Like, I don't know how you start a conversation with that. Delicious though. Chalky. Anyway, since we're all about conversation here at What Jesus Says About, I figured, okay, well, what are people talking about? People are talking about love. So what does Jesus say about love? And you'd think this would be pretty straightforward, just accept people and all that kind of stuff. But actually, when you look at what Jesus says about love, it kind of feels unloving. Because according to Jesus, love is judgmental. So I figured let's do another reaction video and have the cameras rolling while we have Christians and non-Christians react to Jesus' teaching that love is judgmental. And as you'll see, what Jesus says is a much better conversation starter than these conversation hearts. Take a look. And one of Jesus' idea of love involved this idea of judgment. And so here's the teaching. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. So why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do you guys think the message here is it's okay to judge, or is the message don't judge?
That's not how I want to be. I don't want to be judgmental. And when I feel other people judging me, it doesn't make me feel good. So first I have to start with myself. That's the message that I get.
If you're really going to help somebody else, and I think he even says, like, you know, you're going to be judged by the same criteria you're judged on, right? So if like you're cool with being judged by your own criteria, then I think, yeah, then you hold somebody to that standard.
I think a lot of this is people just have no emotional intelligence or understand enough about themselves. So if you don't understand you, it's very easy to have somebody else on the outside telling you what's wrong with you.
Can a Christian make a judgment call on somebody who doesn't follow Jesus?
I don't think that they can. They're not walking the same path that the Christian is.
I don't think so, no.
Just based on strictly on what Jesus says here is like, no, do not judge, or you too will be judged. Like, that's the first thing he says.
I mean, he talks about your brother's eye. I think he's speaking to people of faith.
So when you felt judged as a single mother by the Christian church, you didn't walk away from Jesus. What kept you following Jesus in spite of how his followers treated you?
The church isn't everything, and the church is full of sinners and hypocrites, and that's, you know, that's what people fail to realize, is the church is not God. And so, yeah, you might be in a church that is not doing things correctly or the way that Jesus would want them, because they're human and you have to forgive them too. But your relationship with Jesus is so much more than that. So it doesn't matter what people of the church tell you, because they have things in their own life too. It depends, or it matters what your relationship with Jesus looks like.
But I've always understood Jesus to be like, you know, love thy neighbor, which I think is great. Like, love thy neighbor. And
But wouldn't an aspect of love, going back to the analogy of a parent, being there's a time where you have to make a judgment call, right? So I think the difficulty is for a Christian to know, how do I love my neighbor when they're not following the same set of rules?
I think a lot of times when we talk about these stories and kind of the words of Jesus, it's interpreted in a very absolute way, in a very black and white way. And I think to the point of relationships, that is fundamentally kind of the hidden variable in all of it.
So when I speak to a person that's addicted, that's living on the street, or that may be living in a shelter, and they said, well, man, you ain't never been in my shoes. Yeah, I've been in your shoes, and I was in for a very long time, a period in my life where I was living on the street, where I had addictions, you know what I'm saying, when I was years away from my family. You know, and I've been in those shoes, and when people heard that, you know what I'm saying, now it's like, okay, what do you have to say to me now?
So as you can see, it's a very multi-layered and deep conversation, and I think ultimately what Jesus is saying is that when you're in a relationship with someone, you have to make judgment calls about what's best for them because you love them. And that's where the tension is. But that's what I think. What about you? How do you respond to what Jesus says about love, that love is judgmental? How do you respond to the conversation? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so just leave a comment below. And also, I've got a playlist over here of some other reaction videos. You guys go ahead and take a look at that. I'm gonna have another chalky Rolade heart here, and we'll see you soon. Ooh, that hurt my teeth. Oh look, this one starts a conversation. It says, call me. Oh, but it's banana. I don't like the banana.